Yes, people, and welcome back to a new episode of Punches and Pundits. Now, before we start, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. And if you are listening on any sort of audio platforms, make sure to download the episodes. Now, a couple hours ago, we had UFC 317, one of the most anticipated main events, cards of the year. And, man, I'm sad. I'm distraught a little bit. I'm trying to hold it together. You know, Charles is a fan favorite, my favorite fighter. Well, at least top three, and you know, to get flatlined within 3 minutes of a title fight like that, after the guy you're fighting has said, "I feel sorry for you, bro." Like, I didn't want it to be you. I wanted it to be Islam. Islam vacated, went to 170. It has to be you. You have to make my dreams come true. And within 3 minutes, he snuffed him. He put him out. We've never seen Charles get put out like that. He's been in the fire with Gaethje, Poirier, all of these guys. And Topuria put him to sleep, bro.
There's only one place to start. One talking point. Ilia Topuria called his shot. You know, shades of Mystic McGregor. We call him Mystic Topuria from today. The guy called his shot, bro. The confidence you have to say what you're going to do and do it. And
against
do
the
it,
best in the world.
In devastating fashion as well. Against a guy like Oliveira, who you said we've never seen him get flattened like this. This was a vicious knockout. After that left hook, he didn't even need to land the ground and pound.
No, it was the
he
right.
Was out. After
it was the right hand.
After the right, the left hook
didn't
and
need
the ground
to
and
connect.
pound. That was just him just finishing him off. But that was an amazing performance. And with Topuria, it's almost like, you know, even with Charles, I think we need to have an honest conversation as well. Where he's a good fighter. He's a Hall of Famer. You know, one of the best fighters to come out of Brazil. But there is that level above. We just have to be honest. Guys like Makhachev, guys like Ilia, they're just that level above. And Ilia could have been in there with anybody.
Hold on.
He could have been in there with anybody. He could have been in there with anybody that night, and I think Ilia would have done. Okay.
I just think Ilia's You said guys like.
Yeah, so I just think
Ilia Topuria is a generational fighter. Bro.
No, that's what I'm saying. No,
there's not guys like, bro.
No, only
Islam.
I lightweight. I lightweight in the history of lightweight. Khabib,
Conor,
Makhachev. No, not even Conor. Let's not put Conor there.
Okay, Conor. No. Conor doesn't have the credentials at lightweight.
But in terms of
talent, once in a generation talent.
No, but in terms of who could do that to Oliveira, I think Khabib,
205 Conor.
Okay, 205 Conor, Khabib, Makhachev, and Ilia. Those four there, they're just a different level. And it's a shame for Charles because people are going to come out after this fight and sort of put him down, disrespect him, and forget his run when he had the belt. But he just come up against, like Louis just said, a generational fighter, a generational talent. And this guy, bro, there's no limit for him, bro. It's insane, his ability. And you saw at the end there, Paddy walking in. Paddy should stay far away from Ilia Topuria, in my opinion. You know, the UFC and Dana, I mean, they weren't happy with the fact that Paddy came in. I don't know how he was allowed in.
Joe Rogan was on one yesterday. He was trying to get everyone in the octagon. He's the one that enticed it.
But Dana was not happy about it.
Post-fight
press conference.
He didn't mind the Van and Pantoja.
Because Van's a clear contender and then next in line. But I think Sarukian's probably next in line. But in terms of performance, when we look at that performance, I saw someone break it down how Oliveira is susceptible to hooks, which is true. I mean, every time he's sort of been dropped, it's been by hooks. With the Makhachev knockdown, it was a hook. Whenever Gaethje hurt him or Poirier hurt him, there were hooks. So he is susceptible to that hook. But with Topuria, people were talking about Topuria being a small man in the lead up to the fight. They were talking about his frame, how he's not big. Raul Rosas stood next to him. They were like, this guy's small. But listen, don't let that little frame fool you. The guy packs a punch.
But he's got nukes in hands.
His technique, his timing, his IQ, his grappling. He had Oliveira on the mats at one point. All right, Oliveira threw a leg lock submission attempt, but Topuria defended it. That performance was a scary performance for all the contenders at lightweight. Every contender at lightweight now will watch that and think,
In front of the camera, they'll be like, I'll take him on. But this guy's a scary dude. But it's not even just that. Someone, I think it was DC in the post commentary mentioned it. It's like, This guy went 25 minutes with Emmett. I know he absolutely gave him a life-changing beating, but it's almost like he's improved his technique was already so good in that fight. He's improved his technique to where, like, it's not a power thing. Like, the power he's always got, but it's... I mean, also, the key was for Charles not to get stuck against the fence. If he was stuck against the fence, Topuria was going to land the combinations, and that's where I thought the knockout would... It was in the middle of the octagon, bro. It was, let's land these, and who lands first, bro?
Topuria is just quicker. He has better technique, and he has more power. And
But
Topuria has a chin, because Charles did land on him, but Topuria ate his punches. And Charles, we've always said, as good as he is, as skilled as he is, as exciting as he is, he's chinny. He's chinny, bro. And that can only...
You think he's chinny?
He's chinny because he gets rocked pretty much every fight.
He's rocked and flatline,
but he has
bro.
a will. He has a will where he gets rocked or he gets knocked down. He still keeps going. One thing about Charles Oliveira, since his resurgence at lightweight, he's got like heart. You know, he's got a will to win. He overwhelms guys. Gaethje had him hurt. He still overcame it. Finished him. Dustin had him hurt. Overwhelmed him. Came back, won. He does it, and he comes back. But against a sniper, a power puncher, a technical...
He didn't give it...
technician, like a guy like Topuria who's a technician, you cannot let him get those shots off. He'll get his time in and he's going to catch you. And bro, that knockout
was nasty,
was
bro.
Vicious, bro. Bro, Oliveira may never be the same, bro. That's
real talk.
I know he's your guy, but let's be honest.
Bro.
That was a
no. I know.
Out, bro. And Topuria showed no mercy with those follow-up shots. He has to finish him off, of course. I think the referee was a bit slow. You know, he should have known he was out the moment he landed the right. But every punch after that, there was no need for that. That was a vicious knockout. Vicious knockout.
No, but do you know what it is? Like, I disagree about Charles being chinny. Do you know what it is? I'm going to put... I was thinking about this on the way here. I'm going to put all the... This is on Ilya. This is because Ilya's so good. This is... And like you said, there's... Charles has had his career. Okay? Charles is a Hall of Famer. He's got the most submissions in UFC history that will probably never be beat. He's got the most finishes in UFC history. His career's done. Like, it's made already. You know what I'm saying? This was just a bonus. If he was two-time champ, maybe he goes a bit further in that legacy and he's in bigger combos. But ultimately, Ilia Topuria, in every single interview, every single fight week, what does he say? I'm the new breed of MMA, bro. I'm the new gen. You know what I'm saying? The way I fight is different to all these guys, bro. Ilia Topuria is 28. He's not even 30 yet. He's still got a year and a half yet left before he's 30. And when do we say?
He's got another 10 years.
Bro, he won't stay. He won't stay that long. But the point that I'm making is, like, arguably in MMA terms, he's not his prime. 31, 32, right?
Yeah, you're right. No, you're
and
right,
also, he has officially since last night the best 3 knockout streak in title fights ever. No one's ever done this, bro. Volk, Holloway, Charles.
Oliveira. You're right. And between Volk, Holloway, and Oliveira, how many defenses did they have when they were champions?
Or how many title fights or win streaks? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I can't lie. He has a win over Volk, who arguably is the greatest featherweight of all time. He has a win over Holloway, who arguably is
top 3,
second greatest featherweight of all time. And Oliveira,
top 3 lightweights,
one of the greatest submission artists in UFC history, and top 3 lightweights of all time, only after Makhachev and Khabib.
Yeah.
So his resume already is set. He can retire today. He can retire today,
and he's 2-weight world champion.
And he's set, and he's 2-weight champion. I'll be honest, yeah, they're gonna do Sarukian next.
No, they're not.
They're gonna do Sarukian. They're not doing
Why?
Who's they doing next? Paddy.
Okay.
They're not doing Paddy.
No. Hold on. Dana said, oh, he's on the... They're going to make the Paddy fight. Why wouldn't they make the Paddy fight, bro?
But why was Dana so against? I would make the Paddy fight as well. It's the more exciting fight. And you've got to sort of do the fight while it's still available, because Paddy could lose the fight. But in terms of competitive-wise, I think Sarukian and Topuria is the more competitive fight. And Dana coming out in the post-fight press conference saying, I don't know why Paddy was allowed in. There's sort of doubts there.
Okay.
There's sort of doubts there. The UFC and Dana might not want the fight.
There's doubts with Arman, because in interviews throughout the week, Dana White said that he's on a good track.
Okay, but then there's also doubts around Gaethje. Those are the three...
No, forget about Gaethje. Forget about Gaethje.
No, but those are the 3 that could fight.
No, Arman fights Gaethje, Paddy fights Ilya.
But they said Gaethje is not getting a title shot pretty much. He's saying why was Paddy allowed in the cage? And Sarukian, Dana never said anything about Sarukian.
He said he's on the right track. I don't think he gets a title shot, bro.
So I don't understand. And why is Dana not being blunt about who they're going to give him next? Because Makhachev's gone up in weight. Makhachev's going to fight Madalena. So, I mean...
Maybe
why are they hiding it? I don't understand. Is there like a secret guy they're bringing in or something? Like,
nah, I think it's just...
Your boy John Silver's getting a shot or something.
Or Rufy. Yeah. No, but like, I don't think it's as clear cut as the flyweight. I think whenever these sort of things happen, when guys go into the cage, it's written, it's done, it's formalities, it's the contract's going to get sent and we're going to find a date. We're having discussions about who should get the shot. For Paddy to get into the octagon, basically, you know, if someone didn't watch MMA, they're like, right, well, this guy's definitely fighting him. Just like we're forgetting, Volk got in the octagon with Ilya post Holloway, right?
Yeah.
And obviously that fight didn't materialize because he moved up.
Because Ilya went up in weight. But the thing is, why would Dana... Look, Paddy versus Topuria is the bigger fight in terms of marketing, in terms of pay-per-view buys. There's a real animosity there. They've got history. They don't like each other. That's going to bring excitement for the casual fans, for the hardcore fans. People want to see Paddy lose, right? So that's going to get more clicks, more numbers. So why would Dana sort of shit on that fight by saying, I don't know why Paddy
I don't think he did.
But I don't understand
I think
it's a bit of a weird move from Dana. It's a bit of a weird move.
But then... He wouldn't confirm Arman as the number one contender either. And he wouldn't confirm Gaethje either. I think it's just Dana being Dana and like he doesn't like fighters getting into the octagon unless it's guaranteed. Yeah. And what does he say every post-fight? Oh, we'll matchmaking on Tuesday. We'll decide. Yeah. I'll get with Hunter and the boys and we'll decide from there. Yeah. Obviously, that basically means that now people are going to be like, no, we want the Paddy Ilya Topuria fight. Paddy's ranked 7. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, or 6. So,
well,
like...
Paddy, to be fair, he's coming off a very good performance against Chandler, who was a contender as well. But Dana did say, because Gaethje was just talking a lot. He was talking about how, you know, if they don't give me the shot, I'm going to retire. And Dana was like, listen, if you're thinking of retiring, do your thing. So, yeah, like
Gaethje's a bit of a crybaby at times.
Yeah, he's a bit cooked, Gaethje, because he tried to sort of, you know, pull the UFC's leg and try and manipulate them, but it backfired completely. So Gaethje definitely ain't getting a title shot now. So it's between Sarukian and Paddy. And if we sort of analyze both fights, beginning with the Paddy fight, how do you think that goes? Because I don't see...
I'll be honest, like, you'd think, like, for example, if I'm using Charles, right? Charles has got better hands than Paddy. Yes, Paddy is unorthodox and he blitzes and somehow he lands. Yeah. On the ground, Paddy's got great jiu-jitsu, but you would argue that Charles has got better jiu-jitsu still. So it's like, if he's knocking him out, you know what I'm saying? You're saying Charles is chinny. Yeah. We ain't seen Paddy get hurt. But if there's anyone that can nuke it, Paddy's chin, it is Ilya Topuria.
Before the Holloway knockout, I would have said, Paddy he's a tough guy, he's got a good chin. But if Ilya can flatten a guy like Holloway, who's never been flattened,
and Charles,
but even Holloway, like, bro, we've never seen Holloway get knocked out. Like, I did not expect Holloway to get knocked out like that. If he can do that to Max Holloway, Paddy's in trouble. I don't care how tough Paddy is. I don't care how, you know, unorthodox he is.
You don't think he'd knock out Arman?
Skill for skill, I just think Arman will come in with a heavy wrestling approach. And I think he's a better wrestler than Ilya. I think the guys from those regions, you know, their wrestling's too much. And I just think Sarukian may overwhelm him. But then again, Topuria can show he can hang in on the mats. But the thing is with Topuria, like you said, he's the new breed. And I think he beats them both. You know, I just think the Sarukian fight will just last a bit longer. You know, he's a bit of a tougher puzzle to overcome for Topuria. But once Topuria
said he wants to submit Paddy.
Yeah, once, I don't know why he would want to do that though. Just knock him out. I don't know why he would do that. But with Sarukian, it will last a bit longer, but I think he'll get to Sarukian eventually.
I think,
and the fight is Makhachev. Umar came out the other day and said, Makhachev, when he wins the belt at 170, he'll come back down. And that is, I don't care, I'm going to say it, that's the greatest UFC fight of all time. I don't care what anyone says.
Skill for skill.
Ilya Topuria.
It still won't be the biggest fight, but it'll be...
no, as in, I think it's the greatest, skill for skill. The biggest is obviously Khabib and McGregor in terms of pay-per-view buys, but the greatest
the most anticipated
in terms
for like
the highest level of MMA, that is your fight. that is elite, bro. That is
Islam
that's
Topuria.
insane. Islam Topuria,
Madness.
mental.
But I
I'm so
think
annoyed he went up. You know,
it's
annoyed.
timing, right? Like,
yeah, man.
and don't get it twisted. Even Islam's come out and said Jack Della Maddalena is not a scrub, bro.
He's not a scrub,
Bro, that's gonna be a.
yeah, it's a tough one, bro. You could say
but-
Madeleine is a better version of Poirier.
Yeah, we mentioned that. But also, the last point I want to make before we move into the co-main is like, you know how sometimes we talk about fighters and we say they're on fraud watch, right? They got all this hype and it's like they're on fraud. Bro, Topuria's starting to get on GOAT watch. You know, I said for me, John Jones is immovable.
Yeah.
But what he is doing right now, my bro, is nuts. 3 title fights, 3 knockouts. We spoke about the legends. He's knocking legend after legend. Now, Arman and Paddy, they're not legends, but like if he knocks both of them out, or at least one, and then Islam comes down, and somehow he beats Islam, bro, what are we gonna do, bro? He'll be about 20-0.
Pound for pound number 1 already.
No, but he'll be
pound for pound number 1, and he'll be.
he'll be 20.
That greatest of all time is a tough convo, though. Do you know what I mean? But you're right.
But he'll be
there's no PED allegations. Look how young he is.
And also, do you know why? Do you know why he would get boosted in the convos? Because the only guy that's ever spoken like Ilya is right now is Conor McGregor, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna knock him out in the first round, and he knocks him out in the first round. The only guy that's ever done that is Conor, right? He gets extra points for that, bro. He does. Like, obviously, John Jones is like the amount of title fights and the longevity, and then you have GSP. GSP won't call in out, I'm going to knock him out in the first round. But he's good. He talks
completely
about
different style.
Do you know what I'm saying? He talks about how scared he was before getting in the octagon, bro. You think Ilya, you see Ilya walking in, bro?
Yeah.
Man looked like he was about to go get some tapas and chill, bro.
You know, Ilya's
He's chilling.
You're right, he's just a freak. I've never seen anything like him with Ilya Topuria.
He just knows
he's
stuff
he's a special fighter, and you're talking about the GOAT trajectory. You're right, the way he's going, the only way, his career trajectory is just literally.
Unless
give him a couple 5 years, I think if he continues the way he's going up in weight as well, defending that belt,
he's a 2-time
he will
world
be the
champ,
GOAT.
bro.
He will be the GOAT. He's not the GOAT now,
Of
but
course
the way
not.
his career is looking,
I said he's on GOAT watch.
he will be the GOAT.
He's
will
on
be the
GOAT.
GOAT. That's the thing. To me, it's inevitable, bro. And if he can get Makachev to come down and he beats Makachev, whoa.
Do you know? I'm making a comparison, with football, and it's like, do you remember people were saying even Messi at 23 years old, they were like, bro, this is the best footballer we've ever seen, bro. It's one of them. I know. It's just one of them where like we have to admit what we're seeing, bro. Every pay-per-view he's in, we have to acknowledge it. I'm the biggest Charles
He
fan.
has no weaknesses.
I know.
Even grappling wise, he's got no weaknesses. On the feet, he's a technician. He's got power. He's got timing.
And the mentality.
He's got a good jab. People look at him because he's short, and he's not got the longest reach, and think, oh yeah, he's small. But bro, he knows how to use his reach. He knows how to use his power.
Get in the pocket,
bro. Oliveira did not look in the fight at all, bro.
Yeah,
from the jump.
No, I know.
He overwhelmed them completely.
Literally, if they
bro.
fought 10 times, like maybe
10,
Charles,
10.
10.
And when have we ever said that? We've never said that
About Charles.
We always mentioned how many times would he beat the guy?
Yeah.
10 times.
We always mention it.
Always say
Literally,
maybe 7 out of 10.
This
is 10 times out of 10, bro. But Oliveira is still a legend. But it's just, you're right. Ilya.
And I don't know. I don't know what's next. Before we move, I don't know what's next for Charles.
Yeah,
like you said, he might not be the same. Does he want to stick around and have a few big fights here and there? He's 35 years old. His career's made.
Yeah. You know what I think he should do? I hate the BMF stuff, as you know. But I think he should go down that BMF route. If they're still doing the BMF title stuff, he should go down.
He should
that
fight
route. Or go up to 170 if he's still,
Okay, but if Dustin wins in the next pay-per-view, he takes the BMF with him.
Yeah, but I think obviously he still has to relieve it eventually. I don't think they'll get rid of the BMF if Dustin wins. But if Dustin wins, they could do another BMF fight. I don't know. Oliveira.
If Holloway wins,
McGregor has one fight left in him, which I doubt. Or I don't know, they could do Volk and
but
Oliveira
that was a bad knockout.
Like
that was a bad knockout.
Yeah.
And
but yeah, he should go down the BMF route.
Honestly, Charles still a legend, bro. And he fights. He goes in the odds were crazy, bro. And they were right.
Yeah,
they were right. But yeah, Charles is still a legend. His career is made. That run, becoming champion, beating the people that he beat. Yeah. It would have been extraordinary for him to become 2-weight world champion. But sometimes you come across people that are generational
I
literally.
think he would have been the first guy to become the 2-time world champion at lightweight.
Yeah.
That's never happened before. So
But we need to
co-main.
move on. We need to move on to someone who's, and we've already mentioned how criminally underrated this guy is. But it's getting to a stage where, like, bro, this guy is so good, bro.
with Pantoja, it's a shame that he's in the same weight class as a guy like Mighty Mouse. If Mighty Mouse didn't exist, we'd all comfortably say he's the greatest flyweight of all time. But it's just Mighty Mouse's resume,
And also
his body of work.
And also
It's tough,
his frame's not big enough to move up.
Yeah, so he's almost. I mean, to be fair, Mighty Mouse as well. You can say the same. He's what 5'2", 5'3", but Pantoja, bro, that was a dominant performance. And to be honest, I'll be honest, I never thought Kai France was on his level anyway.
Yeah,
you know, everyone was watching the build up to the fight, the bravado, the press conferences, the face off where he was doing the hacker stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it looks pretty, but don't get fooled by that. Do you know what I mean? Like Kai France was never.
He's a good fighter.
It was
but
never on Pantoja's level. It was never on Pantoja's level. And the UFC are in a sticky position now. Because, look, it's a good thing that you've got a dominant champion. But this is another reason why the UFC wanted to get rid of the flyweight division in the past. Because there was only one guy that was dominating everybody in Mighty Mouse. So Pantoja's dominating, but it's not a good thing. Because they could bring up the same stuff as before where they want to get rid of the flyweight division. They were talking about Mokaev coming back. You know,
yeah, but
they need to beef
you know what? You know what? The flyweight division was a hot potato for a while. Figueiredo was champ, Moreno was champ.
Yeah.
You know, and then
that's why it was exciting though. That's why it was exciting.
Yeah, but bro,
that's why they kept it.
Once
but
Pantoja
Pantoja dominating, unless you've got, because with other weight classes you've got a big roster. You don't have the roster at flyweight to have a dominant champion because he's gonna run out of opponents. That's the thing. So, you know, it's a good thing for Pantoja in terms of his legacy, but it's also a bad thing for the future of the flyweight division. But yeah, I mean, there's one clear-cut contender. You know, your boy. You know, your boy.
But before we move to Joshua Van, because we need to talk about that fight, let alone just Joshua Van.
That's the only clear contender for him, other than Van.
Manel Cap as well.
Yeah,
but
Manel Cap if he recovers, but then again, you know, how long is he going to take to recover from the injury?
But no. Pantoja for me is top 5 pound for pound.
100%.
I feel like flyweights get discredited.
What's the pound for pound list for you right now, top 5? Now that Jones is gone. Makachev, Ilya, Marab. Those three you have to put top 3.
Then
4 and 5.
Then DDP.
Yeah.
No, actually, Pantoja over DDP. Now, if DDP beats Hamza, he gets boosted.
Could you say he's number 3 over
You
Ilya?
could. Oh.
But then Ilya 2 weights. Because DDP's resume, if he beats
Well,
Chimaev,
Islam needs to fight.
if DDP beats Chimaev, bro, Strickland, Izzy,
We
Chimaev,
spoke about this, bro.
Whittaker,
I know.
that's a mental resume.
Mental, bro.
And look, former champion Izzy, former champion Whittaker,
Strickland.
former champion Strickland.
Formal title challenger with Darren Till.
That's a mental thing. And Izzy was pound for pound as well. So, yeah, listen, the pound for pound list is exciting. And you're right, Pantoja, extremely underrated. Extremely underrated. And, yeah, the only option for him is Van. And that's a very, very good fight. But do you think it's too soon for Van?
Well, here's the thing. I think Joshua Van, and we spoke about this on the last podcast, and like, for me, Van, his trajectory was only going one way. I predicted that this time next year he'd be top 5 challenging for a title shot, and circumstances happened that Manel Cap had to drop out, and he fought Brandon Royval. Now the fight yesterday, bro. Before we get into Joshua Van, bro, the fight yesterday is 100% one of the best fights I've ever seen in my life, bro. It was nuts. You know, like from minute 1, it was I hit you, you hit me. I hit you, you hit me. Van's 5'5", bro, but he's there. He's like pocket size, like, you know what I'm saying? He's just
when I was watching that as well, bro, there was a big size difference, you know. Van looked a lot smaller.
Royval's 5'9" at flyweight.
Royval is a lot bigger than Van, and Van was still
getting in the pocket.
Getting in the pocket, pressing him, landing his shots. He's a lot quicker, and he has crisp hands, bro. This Joshua Van guy, bro, he's the future, bro. He's an insane fighter. What a talent. And, bro, he's good on the mic as well. He's good on the mic. The way he was talking, you know, I'm next. He's got personality as well. Do you know what I mean? He's not just an elite fighter.
Like
he can talk on the mic.
Quiet confidence, as in like he knows he's almost got that. He knows something that we don't know.
With him as well, do you think he's the guy that will always be a flyweight?
Well, you argued that maybe later on down the line.
It does have, but then you look at him.
You
look
at
a guy
5'5".
Yeah, I mean, not just fine, bro. He looks.
But it's just thickness.
He was a lot smaller
yeah, if he
than
came up
Royval
against
as
a
well.
Marab, like, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that's
or-
the thing. But at flyweight, he's looking good, and it's just about, is he ready for that title shot? Yeah, technically he's elite. Does he need one more win to go up against a guy like Pantoja? Because being 23, going up against Pantoja, I don't care how good you are, losing to Pantoja, that could sort of kill his
No,
confidence.
I
It
don't
could kill
think
his
it will.
confidence.
I don't think it will.
Because you see, when young guys get pushed too fast.
But bro, this is circumstances, bro.
Yeah, the weight
he
class is
finished.
too-
He finished Bruno Silva. They gave him the call. They're like, "Yo, do you want the number 1 contender fight at UFC 317 in 3 weeks?" He said yes. He gave us one of the best fights, yeah, we've ever seen. Royval was an unbelievable dance partner, by the way. Like, you know what I'm saying? He nearly finished him at the end, bro. He literally, and Royval's tough, bro. He eats smacks for days, bro. I don't know what's in that chin, but like he munches punches, bro. And no, but Van is that guy, bro. He's 23 years old. I think obviously I'd be interested to see what the odds are, because I gotta be honest, Pantoja for me, like, I know that Van's got good takedown defense. Yeah, he's shown it, but Pantoja's it's a different kettle of fish. But do I feel like Van is deserving on the title shot? Of course. Do I feel like he done everything right? Yes. And a fight's a fight. He has really, really, really crisp hands. His takedown defense is good. Is it good enough to handle Pantoja? He's gonna be there in your face. Is his cardio gonna be good enough? We ain't seen him in 5 rounds, bro.
Yeah, that's the question as well. What I used to say with Aspinall and Jones.
Yeah.
That fight's never happening now. But I used to always say that, because when you have a guy that's, finishing
But
guys.
he still looked fresh in the third round, bro.
Yeah, that's the thing. But to be fair though, with Van, it was a 3-round fight. But just for Van, you've got to appreciate his story. Like he's a young kid, came to the US at the age of 12, moved to Houston. And
He ain't been training long,
You just
bro.
have to be happy for him. Do you know what I mean? He came to the US at 12, 11 years later, 23, 24. He's going to be fighting for a UFC title, representing a whole nation, Myanmar. You have to appreciate that, bro. Sometimes with young fighters and these sort of fights, it's a storylines as well, and you've got to appreciate that. Tough beginnings, coming to the UFC, and he's a young kid, millionaire probably when he fights for the belt. You got to be happy for him. You know what I mean? It's a good story as well, and he seems like a good kid as well.
Yeah, and bro, he's, like I said, he's very, very deserving. He's got a whole country behind him, rightfully so. I'm sure if he was to win the belt and he went back there, oh my gosh, it would be mental.
And it's going to inspire kids from those sort of regions to take up MMA.
Exactly.
It's a good thing for the sport too, as well.
But yeah, no, I definitely feel like that's a very, very good fight for you for the flyweight division.
Yeah.
Because we'd seen Pantoja v Royval, bro. We only saw that in 2023, and that was a great fight as well.
Yeah.
But this is we say we want fresh blood. Who could he fight? They gave Asakura a title shot straight away without having to fight in the UFC.
Because the weight class, there's no.
Now we have
weight
some.
class.
We have seen Van knocked out in the UFC though.
Yeah, but that was early on, wasn't it?
Yeah, and these things can happen. But he's
You see, there's been a switch though. There's been a switch. He's not the same guy, but Pantoja he's a different level of fighter, bro. Kai France probably thought he had the tools to beat him. A lot of people go into fights with Pantoja thinking, yeah, I can beat this guy. He's not technical. He's he sort of wings his punches. But you get in there with him, the pressure's different. It's sort of Marab-esque. But Marab is one of a kind. But still, it's sort of Marab-esque.
and also I feel like Pantoja's got a bit more finishing instinct than Marab.
Yeah, no, he does.
Whenever he takes your back, but it was like bro. The ref said let's fight. You got arguably one of the hardest punches the flyweight's ever seen. Him, Figueiredo, back in the day. And he's just like, it doesn't matter, bro. I don't care, bro.
He doesn't care.
I'm taking your back. I'm smashing you for a round. You're going to be tired. I'm going to press you in the second round. And by the third, was it the second round, third round that you finished him? I think it went to the third.
Yeah, third.
And then you're worrying about fighting the hands. He's like a snake charmer, bro. He's like, all right, you're worried. Boom, boom, boom. Next thing you know, it's underneath your chin and
He
it's
finds
finished,
a way.
bro.
He finds a way.
Yeah.
And he's elite.
I don't think it should be a stain on Pantoja with the fact that he's not big enough to challenge for the bantamweight belt, And
But it's going to get to a position. If he keeps winning, they'll force him to do it. They'll just force him to do it. And in terms of size, I mean, how tall is Pantoja? 5'5", 5'4"?
nah, 5. He's bigger than Van, not by much though.
Yeah,
Maybe like
so-
5. Yeah, 5.
Because when they faced off, they looked similar height.
Yeah.
But
But he's
yeah.
a cool dude as well, bro.
Yeah, he's a
He's
good guy.
actually like, bro. You want to talk about story? He was doing Uber Eats, bro.
Yeah.
At 23 years old, he was saying that's why he gave Van credit. He was at 23 years old. I was cleaning plates in a restaurant. Van's about to fight for a title, bro.
Yeah.
So he's giving credit where it's due. He gave Cara France the credit that
He's a humble, good guy. He's a good guy.
he's a good guy, and he deserves everything.
He deserves to be alright. He deserves to be in a pound for pound list.
Yeah.
But another
Um,
fight on the card that we can talk about, Moicano, Darush.
Mm.
Moicano started the fight very well.
He dropped him.
Very well. But he just couldn't maintain that for the second and the
Cardio-wise.
third. And it's frustrating to
Well,
watch.
actually,
Because you look at Darush, he always fights the same. Darush, you know what he's going to do. He's going to smother you. Not a pretty fight. And I don't know. It's like, I don't know why Moicano didn't keep that up. You know, he's a younger guy. Or is he even younger?
bro, they're 15 days difference.
Yeah,
bro.
so I
That's
thought it
what
was
they
the
were
other
saying
guy.
in the press conference. It's
Because
like,
everyone thinks Darush is a granddad, but it's actually they're
'cause of
similar
his
in
hair,
age.
innit?
Yeah, they're similar in age.
no, but Darius
still.
looked good in the first couple minutes of the fight, and then obviously he
Yeah.
gets dropped. And you got to give Darius credit because his last couple fights, obviously, well, he got knocked out by Arman and he got knocked out by Charles. So it's like, oh, snap, I got dropped. Like, those demons could come back, but he rallied in the second round. And ultimately, you know, in the grappling, in the pure wrestling, not jiu-jitsu, but in pure wrestling, he had a massive advantage over Moicano, bro. He seemed like the stronger guy. He seemed like he could hold him against the fence. He seemed like he could hold him on the ground with control time. And Moicano, like, as fun as he is, and I know you don't particularly rate his skills like that, but
Yeah.
as fun as he is on the mic, you know, he said, I've only lost to the best. Well, I'm not losing to Darush at this stage of his career, and he did. He won the first round and he lost the last two, and by the third round, he looked gassed, bro. You know what I'm saying? He looked
The
tired.
thing is, yeah, he did look tired, and it's like, where does Moicano go from here? Because losing to Darush again is a tough one. You know, he always mentioned how I lost to Makachev, he's elite. You know, don't count me out. But you lose it to Darush, we've sort of got to count him out now, and it's a tough one. I don't know where he goes from here. You know, I was listening to a podcast on the way here actually, the Ariel Hawani show, and they were talking about how, you know, he should sort of focus on the podcast a bit because he's got a personality. Do you know what I mean? It's like
Right.
he can sort of focus on his career post fighting because he's getting on a bit as well. He's not really going to win a title, is he? They'll probably
Nah,
keep
he's
him on.
not.
He's not. So
If
it's
Charles,
it's just one of those.
I mean, Charles is probably never gonna get a title shot, let alone
But to be
Moicano.
fair, Charles though, now you mentioned Charles. If Charles can recover from this heavy knockout, maybe a year out, he could have a little comeback fight against Moicano. I think that's a fun fight.
Bro,
I know it's not Moicano's not on his level, but Charles needs a win after getting knocked out like that. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, but
I'd
I
give him
don't.
Moicano. Are you going to give him Gaethje again? He's already beaten Gaethje. He's already beaten Poirier. Poirier will be retired by the time he comes back.
Bro,
Who's he going to fight?
like you said, take time off, but
Take time off and just have-
time off means he's 36. Is he still gonna have the hunger? No,
Yeah, look, they could do a UFC in Brazil. Moicano, Oliveira, main event.
Moicano needs a win before he gets a shot.
No, just make Oliveira look good. Do you know what I mean? And then fight for the BMF after and go out and retire. He's already a Hall of Famer. That's why I'm saying in terms of Oliveira, he should sort of go down the fun fight route. Enjoy the last. couple
He
fights
needs
of
to
your
just see how it plans out.
career.
But
Yeah, because if Ilya's around, there's no real point really. Do you know what I mean? There's no
Oh,
point,
this-
bro. Gaethje's talking about I want to fight for the belt. Ilya will destroy Gaethje. Will destroy him quicker than Oliveira. Quicker, bro. What's Gaethje gonna do, bro? Gaethje's the chiniest guy in the whole of the UFC.
Whoa, chill.
He is though. Gaethje is chinny. bro.
Chill.
If I'm saying Oliveira's chinny, Gaethje's 100 times more chinny. Gaethje's been getting rocked since his first fight in the UFC.
Okay,
Is there a fight where Gaethje hasn't been rocked?
Wait, hold on. When you say chinny,
Chinny means
are you saying like
you're easily rocked.
okay, you're easily rocked, you're not
yeah.
easily turned off?
No. That means like you don't have a chin, but chinny means you get wobbled very easily. Because he does though. How many times?
Yeah,
has
but
Gaethje
then
been
that's your striking defense, bro. That means your head's there to
wobbled?
get
No,
hit.
some guys just don't have tough chins. That's how it is. Because there's guys that you hit them with the same shot, they'll walk through it. They'll walk through it. Poirier will walk through those shots.
Gaethje knocked out Poirier, bro.
Yeah, but that's a head kick though. That's a
I know,
that's
but
a
like-
one-off head kick. That's a one-off head kick. I think if they fight again, Poirier handles him. But I'll be honest.
So what is Max chinny now?
No. Max Holloway's not chinny. He just got knocked out cold by a once-in-a-lifetime fighter. Before that was Max Holloway getting wobbled all
Is
over the
Volk
place.
chinny?
No, he's not. That's just again.
But he got turned off, bro.
No, that's
Twice.
that's just a punch that landed perfectly that knocked you out. But Volk showed his good chin against Lopez. How many times did Lopez land on him?
Yeah, but Volk doesn't.
Volk is not chinny. He just got knocked out cold by a once-in-a-lifetime fighter. And the Makhachev knockout was a perfect head kick. After coming back, because he came back too soon as well. That's what messed him up against Topuria as well. So when it comes to chinny guys, Gaethje's at the top of that list. And he should stay far away from Ilya. Far away.
Do you think we'll ever get the Bernabeu fight?
Yeah, listen, the way the UFC are, their market is based around the US and the Gulf countries as well. So Saudi, the UAE, and America. That's their bread and butter. They go to the UK every now and again, but not an open stadium. Do you know what I mean? I know the Bernabeu, they can close the roof, but I don't know why Dana's so reluctant to do a stadium fight in the UK.
I think it's a bit. I think it's
It's
the
just
paper.
it's a bit.
But
backwards.
also the UFC are signing a new TV rights deal, but there has to be in the contract, right? That there's certain pay-per-views, especially like the huge fights between European stars, that the US have to accommodate.
They should have done it with McGregor. When McGregor was the champion, when McGregor was around in his pomp, in his prime, why didn't they do a fight in Ireland?
Well, they
Crow Park-
did it on his come up.
No,
but they
that's
did it
a
in the
fight
arena.
night.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a fight night. In an arena. I'm talking Crow Park.
But even Wembley.
Or was it, what's it called? The 3 Arena or something? What's the stadium called?
The Viva.
The Aviva Stadium. Something like that. Or even a stadium
Wembley.
in Belfast or something. Wembley Stadium. You've got so many stadiums in like the UK and Ireland, yeah. I don't know why they've never done it. It doesn't make any sense. But hopefully this new TV rights still does that, because you've got a European market. It's almost like they abandon and forget.
I mean,
MMA is
it
big in Europe.
It would be a wasted opportunity if Paddy and Ilya gets made and it's in the US, bro.
Mate, they could literally do Paddy and Ilya, the first fight. I mean, I'm not even saying it will go 2 fights, but imagine Paddy and Ilya in Anfield. Imagine that.
Or any stadium.
He'd sell that out. You think Paddy's not selling out Anfield? You
Yeah, but
think
he's
Ilya's not selling out the Bernabeu?
Of course, bro.
So I don't.
I don't
understand-
think it's a question
No,
of
but it's
selling out.
For me, it's just a bit silly. The way
It'd be a wasted opportunity.
they're just obsessed with the big markets in the US, Vegas, New York, and that's really it. What other big markets there in the US? And that's really it. They don't really
And,
go. And California, that's really it. That's really it.
And
They
then
go-
obviously the Gulf countries, isn't it?
the Gulf countries, Saudi, UAE.
But they accommodate to our time.
Yeah, but it's like venture out a bit. You've got a big market in Europe. How many European guys have come to the UFC, become champion? The sport's huge over here in the UK, in Spain. France has got a big market now. You've got Cyril Gane, who's probably going to fight Aspinall now for the
Yeah,
belt.
we need to talk
You've
about
got a top contender in Imavov. You've got a few top
we need
guys.
to talk
that are
about
French.
that as well. Oh my
The French
gosh.
market is looking good as well. So you've got good markets in Europe. It's like take advantage and do stadium fights, build the sport. I don't know why they're not doing it. They did it a lot on the come up, but they were all fight nights. Do you remember?
Yeah.
UFC
yeah.
Stockholm. They do
I
the
know.
fights in
And
Finland.
ever since COVID, they just
stopped.
they're doing towns in the US, but they still like you said, a Stockholm. That's where McGregor got his debut, right?
Yeah, they do those kind of. I don't know what they do anymore.
Last little bit on the card before we dive into Aspinall and all of that, because since the last time we've done a pod, there's been a lot that's happened. But Jack Hermanson against Robocop, nasty.
Oh my god, that was bad, bro. That was a
Bro,
vicious
Herb Dean
knockout.
is snoozing, bro. No. Do you know what? At first, I was like, this guy is he's taking a piss, bro. He was thinking about something else.
Yeah.
But he hit him. What made it worse is that Robocop was kind of like a delayed hammer fist, bro. But you can see Herb was just slow to react. Do you know what I'm saying? That left hook was mad, bro. It was mad. And
Listen, it was a vicious knockout. Horrible knockout, And Hermanson, he's been around for a long time now. I don't know how many fights he's got left on his contract. I don't even
it's
know.
looking like the end of the road, right?
It's looking at the end of the road. It's looking like at the end of this contract, he gets released. But he's been a good guy though.
We forgot. Peyton Talbot was the first card of the
Peyton Talbot looked at his previous fight.
wrestling defense
Looked
improved.
at all the mistakes he made and said, "I'm not losing my next fight in that fashion."
And Lima was the favorite, bro.
Bro, he looked good, and I'm happy for Peyton as well, because the thing is, like, everybody wrote him off after that loss, and people forget he's a kid.
And
He's
Barcelos
young.
Barcelos is not a scrub.
Yeah, he's a kid. Like, don't write off these kids when they lose in devastating fashion because they're still learning on the job.
Just look at Van.
Look at Van, exactly. When Van got knocked out early in his career, if you wrote him off, come on, man, you can't write these kids off. He's still someone to be taken seriously, and I think he should just continue building. Don't push him too fast.
One or two more fights before he cracks the top 15.
Yeah, give him those sort of mid to top fighters, not too elite, and just let him build his resume, build his confidence, build his skill set, and then ease him into the top 15. Don't push him or rush him too quick. And yeah, that's what they should do.
So since the last pod,
Izzy and Gastelum got their Hall of Fame.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, they got.
You want to talk about best fights I've ever watched, bro? That fight in Atlanta, I remember it exactly, bro. It was the pay-per-view in Atlanta, Poirier against Holloway, 2, and
crazy fight.
Crazy pay-per-view, bro. Both fights back to back was nuts.
No,
Two
it was
interim fights.
There's a cracker.
We don't have that much. Two interim title fights, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, since the last pod, John Jones is retired.
Yeah. Jones, listen, with Jones, you know, I think he would have beaten Aspinall. And I know I'm gonna get a lot of stick, a lot of hate for it, because it looks like he's ducking Aspinall. Which he probably is. But I just think Jones has done so much in his career. He's achieved so much.
He doesn't have anything.
He doesn't have anything else to prove. But he should have fought Aspinall. This is not me saying I agree with Jones not fighting Aspinall. He should have. But at the end of the day, listen, the guy's been around. He didn't make his debut in the UFC 2008. He's been around how many years, bro? So 17 years. You know, on and off, he's had his issues.
Was it 16
in and outside
title
the cage.
fights?
Yeah, something crazy like that. So it's almost like, you know, this is a
I think
risk, low reward fight.
I know, and I think
That's
it's more the fact that it dragged.
It dragged,
right?
Yeah. But Aspinall, for me, we should not point the finger at Jones when it comes to Aspinall. The UFC are the culprits. They're the reason why Aspinall's wasted his almost a year. Aspinall should be irritated by the UFC brass, the matchmakers, Dana, all
But they
these
said
guys.
they made the fight.
They took the mick out of him, bro.
No, but they said they made the
I
fight.
think that's
bro.
rubbish, bro. Jones has always... I think Jones came out and said he's wanted to retire. He's never shown any interest in the fight, Jones. I thought at first he was joking around. He wants to, you know, make it seem like he
Just
doesn't want to
annoying.
fight Aspinall and just randomly hit him. But I think Jones was being dead serious. He does want to fight. So why are you going to waste Aspinall's career, bro? He made no money the last year or so from fighting. Obviously, he makes his money outside the cage, but, you know, you're affecting his pockets. You know, and I think it's a bit of
You're
a
affecting
piss
his
take.
prime.
Yeah, like it's a piss take, like, and I feel bad for Aspinall, and I also feel bad for Jones as well. Just let the guy retire. It's almost like they were trying to force Jones to come back, but Jones, his heart's not in it.
Make him think on it, and he's like, he didn't budge.
His heart's not in it.
But Aspinall now, you know, he's become the undisputed heavyweight champion, and it does.
He
look
was
like
the undisputed.
He
You know
was.
what I mean?
And
that defense against Stipe was nonsense.
yeah, it was like an exhibition fight,
Yeah,
right?
it's nonsense.
So his first defense will probably be Cyril Gane.
Early prediction.
Aspinall win. But I feel like God will give him a decent fight. I think it'll be the longest he's ever been in the octagon.
You know what? I'm gonna throw a spanner.
You think
in the
God
works.
can beat him?
I think Cyril Gane will beat Aspinall.
Serious?
Yeah, I think he'll do it. I think Aspinall will go into the fight emotional. I think he'll be irritated by the fact that it's been a year out.
He doesn't see
And I
the
think,
type, bro. He
I
doesn't.
know, but I think though he's gonna look at Gane and think, all right, Jones beat you in a round. I'm gonna do worse to you, and I think he's not gonna take Gane as seriously as you should have. And listen, Cyril Gane, of course, we know his grappling deficiencies. Yeah, he's not the best on the mats. His grappling, of course, Aspinall's the better grappler. But Cyril Gane has shown he can go a long distance. He's shown the conditioning to go 4 or 5 rounds. That fight against Ngannou was a war. 5
even
rounds.
to
and it was a
Ivasa
close
back in the
fight.
day.
So Cyril Gane has durability and he has the conditioning. I always say this and I get a lot of stick, but we don't know what Aspinall is like in that third, that fourth, that fifth. If you can survive that first and second. Aspinall's the favourite. But Gane is not a scrub on the feet. Gane's still technically kickboxing range. He's the better striker. Aspinall packs a punch. He's the heavier puncher. He's got the heavier hands. Boxing-wise, he's probably a better boxer as well than Cyril Gane.
Speed, bro.
But Gane is quick, bro.
Yeah.
Gane is not slow. And Gane's kicks and his range and his striking defense is
But
still
when,
elite.
but
It's
when,
still elite,
but
bro.
when
You
Aspinall,
can't land clean on Gon. You can't land clean on Gon.
Tuivasa landed clean on
Yeah,
Gon, bro.
okay, that was just that one.
And also,
no, that was
Pavlovich was a scarier striker to face than
but
Cyril
Pavlovich
Gon.
doesn't have Cyril Gon's athleticism. He doesn't have his. He's not as light on the feet. He doesn't have Cyril Gon's speed, and I think Cyril Gon will go into the fight a huge underdog, and I think Aspinall will sort of look past him. I think Aspinall was thinking of Jones for so long. And, I mean, we always used to see him on TNT Sports breaking down Jones' style. He's been almost obsessed with Jones for the last 2 years. I think he's gonna sort of.
Him and Gon have been meant to fight for a long time.
Yeah.
I disagree with you.
I'm just throwing it out there. It could be a devil's advocate, but don't count Gon out. I'm gonna get a lot of stick for this.
No. I think Gon will give Aspinall
a better fight than you think.
A better fight than people are anticipating. If people think it's gonna be a 1 round knockout job, it's not gonna be that. But
it could be because Aspinall's done it before. But if Cyril Gon first of all can sort out the grappling deficiencies, can just work on his takedown defense, his submission defense. But on the feet, he's not scrum. Remember, and I know Ngannou isn't as good a striker as Aspinall, but Ngannou turned into a grappler against Gon. And I know his knees were dodgy, but he turned into a grappler.
True.
When has Ngannou become, Ngannou, who we saw get ragdolled by Stipe in that first fight.
But the fact that Gon couldn't get Ngannou off him, it's a bad look, bro.
No, it's a bad look as well, you're right. Even on the flip side, it's a horrible look for Gon because you're getting ragdolled.
But that was years ago.
Yeah, so it's about, has Gon made improvements in that area? If he hasn't, he's cooked. If he has, it's a closer fight than you think.
And he nearly lost to Volkov, bro. Arguably. In this nah, bro, come on. Nah, bro, nah. Do you know what? Now that I'm thinking, Gon's not beating Tom.
Okay. No, I'm just saying, no, you're right. No, you're on paper, he's not. But I'm just saying.
You free.
Cyril, no, maybe it's that movie that I watched and he was knocking everyone out in the movie. Do you know what I mean?
What, the KO thing?
Yeah, but that was a good movie.
Bro, that's what I'm saying. Movie. Instead of fighting Tom, man was making movies in Marseille, bro.
No, but was that movie made back then?
Yeah, bro.
When did he film the movie?
Like 2023, 2024, bro.
Right.
Bro, there was discussions about Gon and he was like,
I'm just annoyed, man, that the Jones fight didn't happen. You know?
It
would have been a good fight, man.
That's why we need the Ilya Makachev.
Yeah, and now the heavyweight division is dead, bro. After the Gon, fights him, who the hell
Almeida
is he gonna fight? Almeida. Bro, the heavyweight division, it might be worse than flyweight, bro.
Well, flyweight, we got Joshua Van, bro.
Yeah, there's nothing at heavyweight now.
There'll be someone.
Tom Aspinall, if he beats Gon, there's literally nothing for him, bro. You think a wrestler, a grappler like Almeida is gonna do anything?
You think if Pereira regains his belt, he gets a shot?
You know, I mean, you know, I saw something actually, and it's a good take. You know, they were like Ankalaev completely ruined the UFC's plans because by beating Pereira, I think Jones would have hung around and fought Pereira if Pereira was still the champion at light heavyweight and Pereira would have went up in weight. Yeah. I think Jones would have hung around. So because Ankalaev beat Pereira, Jones is now retired now. He would have fought Pereira. That's not as risky a fight as Aspinall. And it's at the end of his career. He doesn't want to take as many risks. Ankalaev ruined the UFC's plans. And it's a good take. I didn't think of that.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see how that plays out. Fight that got announced, main event for Paris in September, is Borralho against Imavov. Yeah. Imavov who's trying to sit on his number one ranking after beating Adesanya, but I'm sure the UFC was like, bro, DDP and Hamza are fighting. Forget about being the backup.
Yeah. Get a win and the title.
Bro,
and contender.
That's a great fight, though.
It's an amazing fight.
Bro, that is a great fight.
Do you not think Imavov's a better striker? Technically.
Yeah.
Now.
And he's a good grappler.
What is Borralho's way to win? Of course.
Pace,
but then technically, I mean,
mixing
Imavov
everything.
had a big issue in the past with pace. He was getting overwhelmed, and
Strickland, do you remember?
Yeah, and his conditioning.
I think
he's overcome that.
I think Borralho has to like make this a true MMA fight from minute 1 to the end.
You cannot fight at that kickboxing range.
Yeah, bro.
He's cooked.
In punches, into the takedown, into the clinch, everything, bro. He needs to make Imavov proper have to work. And it can't be a clean fight.
Early prediction for that fight? I think Imavov wins.
I'd probably lean towards that, yeah.
Imavov, yeah.
But it won't be a clean-up crew.
It's not a first-round knockout. It's not a first-round knockout.
It won't be a clean-up
But speaking on the middleweight division as well, Izzy's calling out Strickland for a rematch. I think that's a good shout. But then, it's interesting. Do you think Izzy still has it to beat Strickland? Because Strickland, you know what he's gonna do. Strickland still has it.
He's got it to beat Strickland, because I think Strickland's kind of.
I think he still has it, though, Strickland. You know, and
He just came up against.
Yeah, but bro, Izzy got.
He looked bad. He looked bad against DDP, bro.
Yeah, but Izzy looked worse against Imavov.
Did he look worse, or he just got caught?
Izzy didn't look good, bro.
Yeah.
To get caught like that.
How old is Izzy?
He keeps pulling back with his shit. Izzy's not young as well. I think 35, 36 maybe.
Similar to Charles, isn't it?
Yeah, he's not young. People think he's young, but he's not.
You know who fought last week, and maybe Charles should fight him, is Fazeev, maybe. He got a good win against Bahamundez. I called that. I like Bahamundez, but that was a massive step. Not massive step up, as in it's not like Fazeev finished him, but there's a gulf in. I don't think he was there yet, and the win against Turner had one foot out the door and kind of.
Whittaker RDR has been announced, hasn't it? That's
soon, bro.
That's a confirmed fight, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, the middleweight division is moving, then this is a good thing.
Bro, Whittaker might be.
And if RDR wins and Imavov wins against Paralia, RDR's win over Whittaker would be better than.
No.
Better than Imavov against Paralia, but Imavov still has a win over Izzy.
No. Bro, come on, bro.
RDR, I can't lie, he's one of my favorite fighters.
No, RDR's
no,
bro.
He did the ball, like we still have to talk about it.
Bro, Bo got put in the spliff, 100%. But
RDR, can't lie.
RDR's a serious
my guy,
guy,
man.
Bro, hence why he's getting the opportunity that he's getting, bro. He's fighting in a top 5 fighter, and he's just broke into the top 15. So
let's talk about a fight that happened since we were last in studio as well. Usman against Buckley. And obviously, I thought Usman, don't sleep on him. But Usman's saying he should get a title shot, Now, that's sort of a tough one because you've got Sean Brady that's there. You've got Shavkat coming back,
Bilal.
Yeah, but apparently Bilal, Ian Gary's about to be announced.
No, Bilal wants Usman.
Yeah.
And
Ian
Gary said he's accepted. He said it on the Hawani pod that he's accepted 2 fights. He's accepted Sean Brady fight and the Bilal fight.
Yeah.
The Bilal fight, Bilal's former champ, he's still, I don't know. Either or, people have to fight each other. We don't know where Shavkat's at. I think if I'm to put my matchmaker hat on, I do think they'll make the Bilal Usman because they have history. Apparently they nearly scrapped on a pod and stuff like this.
Yeah.
So, and I think they'll make the Sean Brady Ian Gary fight. And I think that they might make the Prates Buckley fight.
That's a good fight,
bro.
That's a good fight.
So
that's a very good fight.
But just before,
what other fights are coming up there?
One fight that got announced, bro. Lopez Gene Silva.
Right, I saw that. I can't mention that. That's a cracker. I can't lie. That's a cracker. And for Lopez to come up against Volk, who's a tough fight,
Lopez,
he's going into another tough fight. So fair play to Lopez.
Lopez is one of the biggest dogs in the UFC.
Brazilian affair as well.
Ever, bro.
Yeah.
The fight with Ige in under a couple hours. Like, bro, Gene Silva.
Can't lie to you.
Think Gene Silva might do it?
We sort of mentioned this as well before. It's not a crazy shout to say Gene Silva wins. It's not a crazy shout.
How though?
I think he's a better striker. And I think he's got good enough takedown defense to avoid the mats. You don't want to go on a mats with Lopez.
Bro, he was pointing at his leg at Bryce Mitchell.
But to be fair though,
you thought Bryce Mitchell was gonna, give.
No, I just.
I know you're saying Lopez.
I just thought he's a bit of an unknown entity. Bryce has sort of been around the block. It's an interesting matchup, but I said I wouldn't be surprised if he knocks him out as well. But with Lopez is good, but he's not. I don't know. I don't want to come across as but he's not as good as. Do you know what I mean? The elite, if that makes sense. But he's still good. But it's like. It's not a massive mismatch, Gene Silva Lopez.
No, of course not, bro.
I think they're around the same level, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Like, they're the same level.
If Gene Silva beats Lopez, then it's
title shot.
Straight title shot, innit?
Yeah, but he has to wait until... because if Evloev beats Pico, you've got to give it to Evloev.
Bro, imagine Gene Silva knocks out Lopez.
That's coming up as well, innit? Evloev Pico.
Is that the next pay-per-view? When is that?
That's coming up as well. So if we do a prediction for Lopez, Gene Silva...
it's hard to predict.
I think Gene Silva wins.
Knockout?
No, decision. But that's a...
No, that's a 5-rounder, bro.
It's a 5-rounder, ain't it?
It's not going 5 rounds.
Yeah, I mean, but Lopez is durable as hell, though. You're not going to flatten Lopez.
Bro, if he flattens Lopez...
But then again, is Gene Silva got the conditioning to go 5 rounds?
True.
That's a question
And
mark.
also,
It's a tough one.
and also, he's got a lot of showmanship.
Yeah.
So it's like if he's playing too many games, Lopez is not the one. You can play games in front of Bryce Mitchell because you know nothing's coming back.
Yeah.
But against Lopez, he's gonna throw nukes at your
He's
head.
one of the nukes, yeah. And Lopez is tough. He's got a good chin. He's durable. He can go 5 rounds. But I just think Gene Silver's a special fighter. I think Gene Silver gets it done.
Evloev Pico is on the Whittaker, the Ridder card.
Yeah.
And that's on the 26th of July. So,
Yeah. Still a while away, to be fair.
yeah.
Any,
and then
any cards before that?
after that, no,
between-
before obviously 318, Derek Lewis against Teixeira, bro. And Stephen Thompson against Bonfim. That's actually that'll be an interesting fight.
Wonderboy's still around, yeah.
Yeah. Albazi v Tyra is a flyweight. Albazi had a chance to make a name on in flyweight, and who beat him? Moreno beat him last time out. And Tyra, Royval beat Tyra.
Yeah.
So Delete say Hernandez is going to be a main event as well. Urseg will be back for that. That's in
What's
August.
the card after?
319.
And what's the fights on there?
Duplessis Hamzat. Cannonier MVP.
Just quick prediction for that. Let's finally do a prediction for DDP and Chimaev.
Bro, that's a deep dive, bro.
No, we might as well do a prediction. I think Chimaev gets it done.
In the first two.
You spoke about how Ilya's a once-in-a-lifetime fighter. I think Chimaev is in that conversation as well. We've never seen anything like him, and I think it's Chimaev's time. DDP is an excellent fighter, an elite fighter, an underrated fighter as well. But I just think it's Chimaev's time. It's Chimaev. Chimaev's just that guy. We haven't heard anything come out of his camp about any injuries or anything. Hopefully he can continue.
It's still in August, bro.
Yeah,
Like,
but
the fight's in time.
No, but hopefully he can. You know what I mean? Hopefully he can get there.
Yeah.
And I think Chimaev gets it done.
I would lean towards Chimaev, but like I'd give it a 65-35 for Chimaev. But that that 35% increases
As
to
the
about
fight goes on.
55-60% if we go past the third round. Yeah. For real. The other fights though, Johnny Walker against Zhang Mingyang. You know the Chinese guy who just knocked out.
Yeah, they're trying to get rid of Johnny Walker. Because that Zhang guy's no joke.
Oh no, bro. Johnny Walker might take a nap, bro.
You know, that's what I'm saying. They're trying to get rid of Johnny Walker. They do that to get rid of people.
Bro. And Brian Ortega, Aljo has been announced.
Yeah,
for that.
what a fight. And
Jiu-jitsu is going to be on.
What's that card for? On what card is that?
That's the same card. That's a Shanghai.
Yeah,
card.
I can't lie. I think, that's a tough fight, you know.
I might lean towards Sterling, though.
Yeah, I think Aljo's...
At this stage, anyways.
I think Brian's not the same.
Yeah. Bro, the fight nights in a row, like obviously that one, and then it's Imavov Baralho, and then it's Lopez v Silva. V Silva is on the 13th. Oh, that's the 13th of September. That's the Mexican Independence Day card, innit?
Canelo Crawford as well. Let's talk about that.
That's on the same day.
Yeah, but and it's weird. Let's talk about how Dana's promoting Canelo Crawford as well. He's gonna try
balance the books.
Yeah, but look, I know we don't talk about boxing a lot, but I do like boxing a bit as well. What do you think of that? Crawford going up all the way up to 168. The guy was at 147-pound champion. He went up to 154. He didn't knock the guy out at 154. He sort of, he looked human a bit. And he's going all the way up to 168, skipping 160. As good as Crawford is, bro, it gets to a point where the guy you're fighting is too big. Canelo, skill for skill, Crawford possibly is a little bit more skilled, but Canelo's still elite. Canelo can box. Canelo has excellent defense. Canelo can crack as well. I think Crawford's in trouble, bro.
He might well be, bro. I'm not gonna lie, he might well be, but that fight will be on the same time as a UFC event, so I don't know how Dana White's gonna manage. He's obviously gonna be at the Crawford Canelo fight because that's the bigger. Is that disrespectful to, you know what I'm saying? So,
but then again, Dana always spoke about promoting boxing.
Yeah,
it's nothing new.
So we'll see. But just before we end it, UFC 317 out of 10. We'll
I give it 8 out of 10. It was a good card.
Good card,
solid
solid card.
Yeah.
Topuria's cementing his legacy. Pantoja's cementing his legacy, and we got upcomer in Joshua Van, who gave us one of the best fights we've ever seen, and he's gonna challenge for the belt. So big up the UFC. And yeah, we enjoyed it. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure to look out for the clips of this episode. They'll be on the Punches and Pundits TikTok and Instagram. And yeah, see you lots next time.